Hello everyone, my name is Kate Marshall. The name of my channel is called Inked Paper Art. Today is day 7 of 365 days of junk journal ideas. We made it through the first week. So today we're going to be working on a project that typically you do not see people making and putting inside of journals. I figured a way of making them look a little more vintage, a little more junk journal appropriate. So today we're going to be making junk journal shaker card journaling cards. And so the things that you're going to need today are, well, you need to decide what you want as your background of your shaker card. Do you want a digital, a piece of scrapbook paper, a ledger, a handwritten document? I've got music paper, book page, any of these kind of things on the background of your shaker card will be great. And so then you're going to want to build your shaker card on a piece of cardstock. This is just a scrap piece of coffee dyed cardstock. So you're going to want the cardstock. It's important because you want your shaker card to have some structure, to be strong, to hold all the little shaker bits inside of it. And also when somebody uses your journal card, they're going to flip it over and those bumpy bits are going to be underneath. So you want something sturdy like cardstock to where they can still write over top of the bumpy bits. So let's go ahead and get started making one. The first thing that you're going to want to do is pick out what you want for your background. I have made a prototype that I'll show you out of this floral paper. For this one, I'm just going to go ahead and use this piece of music paper. We're going to go ahead and glue that down to the cardstock with our glue stick. Today, I am using the Oohoo Magic Blue glue stick, and we're just going to add our glue on here. This is a very simple project, but the results are really stunning. And people love getting journals. When they buy a journal of mine and they have a shaker card in it, they really love those shaker cards. I have gotten so many comments about, hey, you know, that was a really nice, fun thing, fun surprise to find in a journal. So the next thing you want to do is you want to cut out your little journal card. And this is the actual base that we're going to use to make our shaker card out of. And so a lot of shaker cards in the card crafting industry are made using plastic bubbles or domes or something like that. We're not going to use that today. We have a different method of making a shaker card. So we've got our base prepared. Our paper is glued down to it. On the back side of mine, I have coffee dyed paper, so the back of mine is ready to go. The next thing that you're going to want is you're going to want either some tulle, like this is tulle. It's a very fine mesh. Hold it up. You can't really even see the mesh. They're a little bit on my fingertips, but it's very fine. So you want something like this to put over top of your base. I also use lace a lot. I like having the lace be the top layer of mine. It's decorative. It adds a lot of interest. Plus, there is that fine mesh that holds all of our shaker bits in. So today I'm going to be using a piece of lace. I have made some examples with the tulle also to show you at the end. So then from here, you can make this journal card several different ways. You can use Fabri-Tac and go around 3 sides, or you can sew around 3 sides. I like to sew around 3 sides of my card. But if you don't have a sewing machine or you don't feel like sewing that day, using Fabri-Tac, this is Fabri-Tac glue, and you can go around the 3 sides. Fabri-Tac holds the lace the best, which is why I like it. Plus it dries clear. So sew around 3 sides or use glue around 3 sides. How I like to do it if I'm at the sewing machine is I start up here in this corner and I work my way around down across the bottom and then back up the other side, leaving the top completely open. The reason why you need to leave the top open is because we need to be able to fill our shaker card with all of our fun bits. So whether you glued it or you sewed it, leave your top open so that you can put your bits inside. From there, I have a couple examples for you. I have one, this is one that I used Fabri-Tac on, so it's not sewn. There's no sewing on the back of it, and it's just, it's open in the top. So you're going to want to put your bits inside of there. And then I also have one that I've sewn and I've already put bits in, but we will talk about bits here too. So this one is open at the top. and you can just use a spoon and dump your bits in there. So these are the bits that I've chosen. I will show you some bits too. So you can see the floral pattern back there behind the lace. It's much more visible in person than it is on camera. And then you have all of this fun shaker bit stuff inside of it. So let's talk about shaker bits that you can put inside of the cards. I have some vintage, and these are antique, I guess, little metal hardware parts from France. And so I have these because I like to use these in industrial or steampunk or Tim Holtz or whatever. And they're just little tiny metal bits. They're fasteners, basically. So I have those that I can put in some, and I've made some with those for you guys. I also like on the industrial ones to put maybe some Scrabble tiles or other 3D elements. I've even put a whole domino in one before, depending on the size of the card, obviously. And then I also have mother of pearl buttons. I put those in some shaker cards. Then I also have a tin. Now you can start with a tin and fill it with all your little shaker bits and make your little shaker mixes in your tin and then fill your cards. I have some vintage rhinestones from Rhinestone Jewelry. I put some of those in cards. I have some decorating bits. So here's some other ideas of things that you could stick in your cards. And so I just made a little basket. There's all different kinds of things in here. You can see there's tube confetti from the dollar store. That's a good option. There's sequins, and I have a storage solution for sequins. There's any type of the bigger chunky glitter. The little tiny fine glitter won't work, but the big chunky glitter will. And then other than that, there's these tube beads that you get at Hobby Lobby for like $1.99. There's a whole bunch of different styles of those, and I really like to use those. You'll see that I use these quite a bit in mine. And then there's also seed beads. So any type of seed beads will work. This is the way that I organize my sequence, and then I can just take my little spoon and fill up my shaker card just like that. So there's a couple of ideas, and I have a few more for you. I don't know if you guys were ever card crafters, but in the card crafting world, these are called dewdrops, and they're little glass or plastic, basically little water droplets, and I like to put those in shaker cards. Your mix that you put inside of your shaker card should have a variety of sizes of items as well as different weights. These are kind of bumpy, they're bigger, and they also have some weight. And you want the weighty things to mix around in with the sequins and the little things, and that's what gives you a good shake in your shaker card. I also like to have a spoon of some sort, a scoop of some sort, to kind of fill up the cards. So for this card here, where I sewed around it already, I just filled up my shaker card with all my little bits with my spoon. You can kind of see I've used tube beads in that one. Whoops, that's going to happen when you make these. So let me go ahead and move forward and show you some finished examples. So this right here is a Tim Holtz cardstock one. So I've used his cardstock, and then I've done some collaging inside, and then I've covered it with tulle. So there's a little collage in there, tulle, and then I put some buttons and some wooden stars, little wooden shapes in there. And this little advertisement right here is for men and boys clothing, so I thought it was appropriate to put the buttons in there. But you can see you get a good shake. There's tulle covering it, so nothing is coming out. And this one was sewn around, and you can just journal on the back. This is one that I made, also Tim Holtz inspired. It's got those vintage metal hardware things. It's got some Tim Holtz gears and cogs in there. Again, I've done some layering in there, and it's covered with tulle, so nothing is going to come out of there. And then, of course, you can journal on the back. The next ones I've done, I've put dried flowers in. So these two have dried flowers in them. And so there's one here that has a purple flower with a long stem, and this is with book page back behind it. And of course, it's just on coffee dyed paper, so you can You can see I've decorated the tops of all of these next ones with lace, and the lace hangs off the side. And then there's this one here that has lavender inside of it. So this also works as a little sachet. You could put this in a drawer if you would like to have your clothes smell like lavender, but there's French lavender in there. And then of course I've layered up lace at the top. Underneath there's an antique document from the 1700s that I've used. So those are a couple examples there. You can also use your regular pieces of ephemera. So this is an actual journal card that comes in a digital kit, and I've just layered up that piece of ephemera and made it into a shaker card. So this is the kind of fun things that people like to find in journals, right? So this one is another example. This one is very pale. It's a very light blue. It's got bugle beads inside of it, light blue sequins, lace layered up, and just a digital background paper. This one is a Florentine Italian paper background, and it's got lace at the top, but then inside it's got all kinds of fun colored sequins and dewdrops in there. It's kind of like a confetti mix. And then this one here is another document one. It's beautiful. I did a little lace tab at the top. This one I made for a Valentine's Day journal. So it's got all kinds of like crystal diamond rhinestones and pink and red sequins. And then you can use, colored lace. You could use colored lace over the top. If you were doing a Halloween one, you could color or cover it in black lace instead of white lace. This is another one with a beautiful floral digital background paper, and it's got its shaky bits in there. They're just fun, guys. You're going to have fun making them. People are going to have fun finding them in journals. This is an antique French blue invoice, and I've put the shaky bits in there. Another lace tab at the top. This one is Antique Rag Paper Dictionary, and it's got shaky bits and buttons inside of it. And I'm thinking of doing this one in more of like a sewing journal. Here's an antique French wallpaper. This is a piece of antique French wallpaper with little shaky bits inside of it. And then up here at the top, this one I did more of like a mermaid journal. So it's got some blue lace, it's got some seashells, and then inside it has a super fun sequence mix. The sequence mix in this one comes from these little tins. A lot of you guys will probably remember, if you ever shopped at Tuesday Morning, they had these fun little tins, and inside of the tins had sequence mix. So that's what's in here. It's really beautiful, and I'm thinking of doing this in a mermaid journal. And then the next one is a floral background again. It's a different floral than we've seen, and it's got super fun shaky bits. You can see the little beads in there. So I mix it up with the tiny little lightweight sequence, the little gold sequence you see shining there. And then there's a bigger red sequence, the bugle beads, and the actual little pearl beads. You can see the little pearl beads. So a mixture of sizes and weights, and on that cardstock, it gives you that base, that thickness and that base that you need. And then to write on it, you're going to pull these out of the pocket of the journal, right? So we're not concerned with the bumpiness because this is removable. You could make a pocket in a journal like this, but if you did, it would be really hard for the person to write on the pages in front of this. That's why we're making pieces that can be added in a journal and then taken out if the owner doesn't like the bumpiness and doesn't want to write over it. But because we've made this on cardstock, when you lay this down, you can totally write on this. So there's that one. And then we've got a couple more examples. We've got these little ones were digitals. There's little birds sitting here. Little birdies. And then we've got more little birdies. These are for spring journals, Easter journals. There's those. More little birds. So you can color theme your shaky bits. You could put all types of little washers, metal bits from the garage. Any type of smaller flat item will work in here. This is a piece of antique ledger, and it's got more of a bronze themed sequence mix to it. This one has tiny little diamonds. These little gold things, this is the gold backing on actual little rhinestones. These are from the 30s, these rhinestones, and then some other sequence bits in there. So this one is very neutral in color. And so guys, we made all of these beautiful shaker cards. I did this morning. And so we're going to have shaker card fun for quite a long time. My ephemera box is full. I made all of these cards, literally all of them, within just a short period of time. You guys are going to love this project. It's going to be super fun. If you have any questions, go ahead and leave them in the comments and I'll answer them as best as I can. Thanks guys for hanging out with me. Come back tomorrow for another junk journal idea. Bye-bye guys.